YouTube video that I have not done in a while, and I said that I would, and I feel bad because I haven't, but I have been away touring the UK with a show that I'm doing, and if you happen to be a young person, you will know him from YouTube. A lovely gentleman called Dan TDM, and he is a gamer, and I have been assisting him in his UK tour, and it has been a lot of fun. If you've been following me on, say, Instagram, then you know that I'm there with a fitness account, and I often talk about body image and how we feel about ourselves, self-love, self-care, trying to get fit, and I'm trying to make it more focused on well-being rather than weight loss. But all of this has been making me think a lot about shame. A lot of the stuff that kept me from ever sort of getting into the fitness lifestyle and really being motivated to stick to certain consistencies that were going to get me the goals that I wanted. I was embarrassed. I wanted to look like a Victoria's Secrets model. Do not have that body shape, so it's impossible, accept that. But I wanted to look like a Victoria's Secrets model. Yet, if I saw somebody with a Victoria's Secrets model body, I would have negative thoughts about it. I remember this one particular time I was at a diner with a group of work friends, and it was a group of personal trainers, but this was before I was a personal trainer. So I ordered, I think, a burger and fries. And one of the personal trainer's clients came, and she was a model, and she ordered a salad, and I remember being really pissed off. I remember being like, oh my god, she is so boring. Like, I never want my life to be that I order a salad. Firstly, she may have had a big job that next day, and if she'd have eaten fries and a burger, she'd have been bloated, and unfortunately as a model, you're not going to be bloated. That's just the way the industry works. Secondly, maybe she wanted a salad. Thirdly, maybe she didn't, but she's got goals. Fourthly, she's with a personal trainer. She was probably just trying to be good. And fifthly, it's none of my bloody business. And for me to sit there and have judgment, I was shaming her. I was shaming her in my head. And not even in my head. I remember speaking to the people that were around me, and we were all like rolling our eyes. Who do I think I am, firstly? And secondly, that's the judgment I had about people that were trying to get fit, be fit, stay fit. So if I've got that judgment about people that choose the salad, I was never going to choose the salad, right? Not once, not 10 times, not ever. And therefore, I wasn't going to get the goals I wanted because I was always too embarrassed or ashamed to care that much. But I probably ate that burger and probably went home, and the next day probably looked in the mirror and got my belly out and was upset. So, more for me, really. Shame on me for even being so judgmental towards other people, because those ideas you have about other people are often ideas that really you have about the whole scenario, the whole event, as it were. I had so many hang-ups about being boring or not being good enough or not being likeable enough. You know, these sort of things would stop me from putting out a YouTube video. And maybe because I'm like, to be an old lady, I'm a bit like, what's the worst thing that can happen? The worst thing that can happen is I get a thumbs down on my video and someone writes a comment saying, "You suck." Shame stops you from being the best version of yourself that you can be. You know, if you've got things you want to do, goals you want to meet, progress you want to make, the ideas that you have about the end picture are going to stop you. And if you are ashamed of being loud, being talkative, having a particular laugh, having particular sized boobs, or a funny shaped bottom. If we're ashamed of all those things, we're never going to truly love ourselves and never going to truly accept ourselves. Shame often has like I attached to it. I have some fat. It's different to I am fat. And I just love that quote about the fingernails. Again, I'm going to put that here. Here. Quote, fingernails. It's funny, I swear. We have shame surrounding our body image, the fact, and I think that that comes from what we see and what we see to be normal, and then we feel abnormal, and when we feel abnormal, that's where shame comes in. Like a lot of the time, self-worth and validation comes from belonging and wanting to fit in, and I believe that when we feel like we don't fit in and we don't belong to something, a culture, a community, a group of friends, a family, we don't fit into something society decides we should fit into, we often feel lost. I think possibly because as humans we find it very hard to be in touch with ourselves, and ego gets in the way, and it's ego that really draws from fitting into something. And I walked past, it was Marks and Spencer's as well the other day, and it was a mannequin and it had a skirt on, and I looked at the waist and I literally was thinking, my thigh, like that skirt would fit around my thigh, possibly like near my knee. There was no way it would fit around my waist. What the F? Insane. But my point being that I think shame comes from not feeling like you belong to something, because I see mannequins and I think that, well, that's obviously what normal people look like. That's what you should look like when you're wearing clothes. And I believe that a lot of our self-worth would disappear in this feeling of, well, I don't look like all of those girls, so therefore I must be a bit rubbish. And I kind of wanted to be here and say, I have an Instagram. I try and be as honest and open as possible, because firstly, I don't want people to think that a fitness journey is easy. Secondly, I don't want people to think that I always feel positive or I always feel like I look good, that all my poses are, that's not how I'm seen when I walk around in the day, when I get out of the shower, I don't look like hoity-toity bum poked out. I want people to know that I do have, a belly that hangs over my trousers sometimes. And not because I'm self-deprecating, but because I want people to see that there are other bodies that are different to what we think is the norm. And I think that if we were all much more open and honest about these bits that aren't normal or aren't perfect, then it would help, I think. When I was 14, if I'd have seen other girls be like, hey, I have small, saggy, pointy boobs with large burger nipples, it's normal, some don't look like this, some do, maybe I'd have been more accepting of my boobs. If I'd have seen girls much more straight down, and as I was growing up, and not small waist and hips and thigh gaps, maybe I would not have been embarrassed about the fact that my thighs touch together. There's not a gap. What do you mean there's not a gap? I should have a gap. I have a hairy belly button. A waist that doesn't really go in, out, back fan. I have a pretty decent bum, good genes, but sometimes say it isn't so. I have bum dimples. And yes, as I mentioned before, I have small, pointy, saggy boobies! Which I will not show to you because I may get thrown out of the internet. I have a foot with a verruca on that I have had for over 10 years. I know, I'm a beast. My teeth, they look like good teeth, but I need 10 fillings. Why? Because I have gone throughout my life, possibly sometimes only brushing them once a day. A lot of the time. Probably 80% of the time I've only brushed them once a day. Sometimes I have forgotten to brush them at all. I'm gross. Please unsubscribe if I am too disgusting for you to handle. I'm sorry. I'm getting better. And yes, my thighs, they touch. Always. I have pretty decent shoulders. Some silly boys who have no brains say things like, "You've got shoulders like a man." I'm just saying, we all have things that are human. And I think that we should try and let go of shame about anything that we think seems abnormal. But it's not abnormal, it's completely and utterly human. Laters!